On these social movements, the war of the sexes, the what's the best advice you could give a woman? And the next question will be for the men.
I think they've got to be very wary of the media. The
Hmm.
media's legacy at misleading women about femininity
Hmm.
is legion, right? Legion. And when older women, mothers, are exposing their daughters to these filthy magazines for women and these websites, the media, this is where I think things have to change. I
Hmm.
think these TikToks and OnlyFans are diabolical.
Right.
They're run by the communists.
Society makes it so hard for all of us, so it's an easy out kind of thing, getting to know our animus and our masculine side, so where we could actually be more feminine and understand why we lash out the way we do, why, and also our hormones, our left right brain thinking, that kind of thing.
Yeah, but see, I don't think it's going to happen. I think the women are too far gone, personally. It'll only take a massive apocalypse.
I'm not saying that all of us are, too far gone, but maybe the women that have followed you, because you have been a big inspiration for me. And I remember, you saying something years and years ago that the only way that it could really change if the women were to get involved in all this in the proper ways, not just, I hate men, blah, 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 kind of, oh, you damaged us for whatever, but actually start seeing us as a balance, not with just in the world, but within ourselves.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, agreed. Of course, that needs to happen. Certain special women who get it and who've got good female models, not the feminists. They need to be looking to other people in the past. That can definitely be a big help. Getting into psychology, getting into my work, it would be a big help. And then you can make a slow change. But it means that they would have to get. I've written 2 books, and you're quite right. Dragon Mother and Adultism, these 2 books, are mostly for women. Oh yeah, there's definitely a means of this where you have to go cold turkey from all the programming,
Hmm.
and this darker side of the feminine needs to be understood. It's unleashed by these Gnostic forces. They've mobilized it, they've funded it, they bankroll it, and women have just been following it stupidly. But you're right, there's a certain group of women. I definitely do back that up. What you said, I totally support. I said it earlier that my work is for the women to make the change. It's not for men to make the change. Women need to step up, and that will be a very difficult sort of curve, for them. It's like a learning curve. But what will happen is that they need to be tired of the bullshit. The sisterhood knows how to work on the lower energies of womankind, and that's what's been happening. This evil sisterhood at the top has been putting out agents time and time. All these feminists, they put out the feminists, right? It started as a nothing lunatic movement back in the 19th century, and it's been funded and funded and funded. Second wave, third wave, fourth wave, all this. It's occult. It starts with an occult agenda. Women bought into it en masse. Some women have woken up and don't want nothing to do with it, and I hope that trend, continues. It's not something that can change overnight. That's the first thing.
Right, right, right. It's going to
It's a
take.
slow, yeah, it's a slow waking up from a trance. The promise of female empowerment, all this nonsense. So that's an education. It's a slow coming awareness that the idea of femininity has been weaponized against women. I call it that women have been used as doomsday weapons to bring down Western civilization. From this sort of KGB Central, if you will, the Communist International, who have some very, very clever people from the Frankfurt School and what have you, who have got into our psychology, and they have accentuated this sexual conflict,
For sure.
between the man and the woman, right?
It's
But
everywhere.
it's all done. See, it's not done to empower women. It's not done for equality. It's to do with female supremacy.
I see that real heavily in these feminist movements. I've never really considered myself a feminist. I like to be feminine, and I
Yeah.
like to be empowered. But to be a feminist, that means I have to view the world in a certain lens, and I've never been good at that. I'm more of a like take it as it comes kind of person. And so, like, the feminist movement, I could see where, women have a big a suppression within them, a subconscious about how they've been held down because, they couldn't work or had to be in the kitchen or whatever, whatever, whatever. But to me, what truly means to be feminine, not the feminist movement, but to be feminine is just to be receptive and or what I mean,
Sure do. Yeah, but they don't want that. This cabal definitely doesn't want that. See, the women that they employ hate women. What normal women have to understand is that they are not being helped by this feminist movement. They're being sacrificed.
Yes, yes. And it gets also into, okay, so like the dating scene that a lot of people have to go through nowadays, like the feminist movement has made it to where they're not, I mean, they try to make it like sexual empowerment, but really it's just they've made it to where just a hookup culture for a low-hanging fruit for men. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Too
yeah,
much.
it's pretty sad. Yeah, these are all the compensatory ways that give you maybe a fleeting feeling of superiority.
Yes, yes.
And you'll go along with it, but it's not based on love. It's not based on empathy. It's based on it's gynocracy, and gynocracy goes a long way back. Now, I posted on my Substack a few weeks ago this thing called matriarchy. The matriarchy fraud exposed,
Hmm.
and I've been working on that for many, many years. There's even a book there's a females who've written on this. The myth of the matriarchal age, because this even crept into historians and anthropology, in which lies were told about, Amazons and these goddess cults of the past. It's all been refuted, and you can read about it. But
Okay.
I posted a good video that people can watch on my Substack on this. It was just a few weeks ago I put up there. And so slowly, this plutonic energy that we've been discussing is working to drop the masks, to expose the corruption and the falsity. And it's also done it in this regard. So women need to be realizing that they've been defrauded, and lies have been told about ancient history and about their
Hmm.
role, in tribes of the past. All of this needs to be revised. And some of these lies that have been broadcast down through the years, and even has crept into science, into like I say, anthropology, and into history. They're not to be believed anymore. New evidence has come out showing that this was again highly funded by a very secretive group to work on women's psyches. And in my work, I do a lot on this. I've got a series on Unslaved, called The Monstrous Feminine,
Yes, yes.
and many other programs along this to show what's been going on in terms of this exaltation of the feminine and how corrupt it is.
Okay, so what are your takes for men and how they should go about, in society with these feminists, with everything that's changing the way it is?
Well, this is my critique of groups like MGTOW and everything. Even though I understand it and the manosphere, and I
Right.
do like a lot of what they're doing, some bit more than others, merely throwing dirt at women is only a beginning. I mean, MGTOW right now is stuck. I don't know where it's going to go because they are not interested in the psychology of women. It's just about naming them as bitches,
Right.
pointing out the dark side, and you can get caught in that,
You
right?
can. You can. Yes.
You can easily get caught in that. Most, younger men will get caught in that and come up with all sorts of preposterous, like these incels and all. It can really go bad. So what you need to replace it is psychological insight into what woman is, what man is. Both sides need this. Remember we talked earlier when we started about this deficit in psychological insight?
Yes.
Now we're unpacking it. Now we're seeing that both for men and women, this lack of psychological insight and this concern and care about the subject of psychology, this is where one of the deficits has come. This breakdown on a sexual level and this recriminant. See, when you don't have the psychology, then you just get into he said, she said, and you get into this mudslinging, and you get into this shrinking back into your own group.
And where everybody's scared of everybody.
Yeah, of course, because you lack the psychology. You're not empowering. The real empowerment comes from psychology. Now, it does turn out that women are the least interested in their own psychology of the two sexes. Psychology was formed by men, mostly, to a large extent, and since the advent of psychoanalysis, it's been women who really not bothered at all picking up psychology. There are some exceptions. They're very few. And I'm not including the women who'll say, well, I even work in psychology, Michael. What are you talking about? Look at my white coat. No, no, no. That's psychology in general. I'm talking about female psychology. There are no women interested in that subject, really. It has to be. So what men have done is at least they brought the subject, you know, the Irish Naumans, the people that I write about. Yes, we brought it back to the table, but it is for women to do the work. I mean, we can't, there's only so much you can do, right? The woman has to show an interest, but that will mean at the same time blocking out the crap that comes out of the media, the crap of feminism, the crap that your, you know, mothers have taught you and all the rest of it, and starting with a blank slate. So it means a lot of going cold turkey, you know, of being able to what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. It's like a kind of therapy in which you realize that the toxins have come in, and you've got to go through this long period, fallow period, where you say, "I don't know." See, what's happened is that the heads are so full of opinions and knowledge that there's no room for any new light.
Right,
So
right.
there has to be a period, and I hope this Platonic energy will help with this, where there's got to be a deconstruction, a realization that you've been poisoned slowly over centuries, you know, and you need to disgorge that. You need to detox, and then sincerely and lovingly, you know, look at the alternatives. Right now, there's so much hot air, there's so many bushfires, there's so much going on that it's quite difficult for people to do that, you know. But people can read my work. They can go to, you know, I've got websites on femalepsychology.org, right? They can go to my main website. You'll see links. If you go to michaeltessarian.com, you'll see links from that website to a lot of other writings on this subject. So if it's new, you know, and I've got a site called dragonmother.org, which links up to some really, really good articles on this if it's new to people. And they're written both for men and for women, you know. And I'm also a personalist. Personalist is somebody who develops their own outlook on life and basically keeps it private. So I've written a book on that called Disciples of the Mysterium, the philosophy of personalism. That one of the problems of our world is that there is too many voices. There's too much confession. There's too much interaction when it comes to the deepest matters of our own being. And so there's a certain privacy, certain introspectiveness that's required, and contemplativeness. That when we come up with, you know, ideas on reality, we don't automatically, you know, go out and blog it to everybody else in the whole wide world. We sit with it for a long time,
Right.
and we let it percolate. So that's what I would say, is that it's all right to have opinions. It's all right, like we're doing, to talk, you know, mercurially about different ideas. But when it comes to your deeper self, and there is a deeper private self, to keep it private. You know, that's what personalism means. But mystical naturalist is a kind of a hermeticist. You know, that the God spirit is all around you in nature, and we are custodians of that order. You talked about Druidry earlier on. You know, so coming out of that tradition, of the Irish tradition, I think this is where I would be at. You know, this idea that there may be supernatural realms or whatever, you know, but really we're here in this realm. That's where we've been placed. And so the natural world, the earth, is our home. I think we're caretakers of it. And this is what our chief focus should have always been. And both men and women are made to do that work. Both have a role, you know, and those roles have become completely destroyed with our technical, you know, the rise of technology and modernity. We've lost a lot of this. And because we've lost it, we're in the fallout. Look at the state of our children. Look at the, all the rest of it, all the horrors. So, yeah, I'd be like a pagan. I would say, close to paganism. Actually, you could say, with a few nuances here and there. But I'm definitely not a Gnostic. Definitely not into religion. I think these are all very, very evil things.